Welcome to Mindfully Integrative Podcast with your host, Dr. Damaris G. Mindfully Integrative is a podcast discussing ways toward mindfully incorporating integrative health into our lives. This podcast will have informative resources, fun topics, interviews, and discussions relatable for today with a true mindful perspective in a mind-body, holistic life approach.
Hi, how are you? This is Dr. Damaris Maria Grossman, and this is the Mindfully Integrative Show. And today we have a wonderful mindful chat with this amazing mom, woman runner, Louise Valentine, and her business is called Breaking Through Wellness, but she is a very avid wellness advocate, runner, health and fitness expert. And I can't wait for you to meet her. And she is also a veteran family. So can't wait for you guys to learn more about her. So thank you so much, Louise, for being on the show.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
I really appreciate your time. And I want to know a little fun fact about you that people may not know.
So fun fact, it's kind of crazy. I did run 74 half marathons while pregnant.
Wait, 74 like at the time?
It was over the course of 2 pregnancies. But yes, I was coming off of a marathon that I had hit my goal time, a PR. And, for my body to remain active in pregnancy, running a half marathon and slowing down the pace really was not that stressful. My body was used to marathon training at a higher level. So I just wanted to show that women can be very active and have a healthy, fit pregnancy. And so I kind of came up with this mini goal, and I ended up running through my pregnancies and had some great pregnancies as a byproduct.
Oh my God, that's so amazing. I've done 2 marathons and a couple halves when I was younger. And oh man, that they take dedication and time. They take but worth it though. That's awesome. That's really, I was just telling you before, want to work myself up in my body into doing something again. I definitely do fitness, but to get myself more into that range. So wow, 74. Oh my gosh. Wow. And then pregnant, that's, what it is you're showing people that it's okay to be healthy. Everyone says you're supposed to just be like sitting on the couch, and I think that is just so wrong to be talking and saying that. And you're a perfect example of what people should be doing, not, as long as your body is allowing it.
Yeah. It was a mind body approach. And, going into my labor and delivery, to know that my body had already worked with me through all of these different running, challenges. It was really like, my body knows what to do. We've been here. Like, I felt like I had run so many miles with my daughter and my son that we're going to get through this labor and delivery together. And it was really like this empowered mindset that came along with it. So I really encourage women to be active in pregnancy if, working with their doctors, of course, my physicians, but, your body's capable of amazing things, including a beautiful labor and delivery. So
so for you with the deliveries, were they pretty manageable for you because you were physically very active?
Yes. So my son did come early. I did have to stop running. And so I think that was a little bit of a trigger for my body. He ended up coming 6 weeks early. But it was a 4-hour labor and delivery. I was not prepared for it. So I approached it with a little bit of fear. So that one was a little painful, but with my daughter, I had a very different approach, and I ended up delivering her within 11 minutes. I induced my own labor, and it was just like the most beautiful experience working with.
How did you induce it? Like you just with breathing, with just your own techniques?
So I had done so many different miles in pregnancy that I was very slow. Like I would typically run maybe like an 8-minute mile on a casual run. And I went down to 11, 12-minute miles at the end. But when my provider said, I was like, could I push pace and see if it induces labor? And she was like, okay, go ahead. And so I went down to a 9-minute mile. I ran home, called my husband. I said, I think this is it. We got to the hospital, and she popped out within 11 minutes.
Wow. And you didn't feel pain? What is it like for you, because you're so strong down in your pelvic core and your body? Were you just able to kind of get through that pain moment?
So I actually had done some mindfulness work
That's great.
Just a few times per week, but really is a physiologist, reflecting on the fact that as women, our body is it's literally made to give birth.
Right, right.
It's physiologically designed for that. So like each contraction, to not fear it, would actually change the physiology in my body, the different hormones I was producing. I could remain relaxed and really just be like, every time you have the contraction, it's like, my body was made to do this. My body was made to do this. And
Beautiful.
So I did share that with my nurse when I went into the hospital. I said, I want to go all natural. I am going to deep breathe through it. I'm going to work with my body. And she was just like stroking my forehead. And she was like, oh my gosh. Like this year, like her jaw just dropped. She's like, and you just popped out your baby. And I was like, and it was beautiful. And so complete opposite of my son, who I screamed through and feared and, had all of the contractions and the fear-based hormones, but totally different with my daughter.
That's really cool that you're able to have that one. I would say, unfortunately for me, my pregnancy was not 100%, but I learned a lot even for myself, my health wise. I thought I was fully healthy, and hey, I learned another aspect of myself where I was like, oh, I need to reevaluate. And as we talk about stuff like that, but I definitely learned from even my pregnancy. So, but I'm so glad you were able to kind of like have almost like a change. So now you're probably even find it more beautiful. Or yeah, that's great. Are you having more? You're not having any more children, are you? I'm sorry.
No, we are.
I know everybody asks me all the time. Like, oh, I'm not sure. Our bodies are amazing though. That's beautiful. You have two beautiful children and they're healthy, right?
Yes.
That's the most important. So let's talk about you and your story. So obviously, I say integrative health, but really a holistic overall approach to a conventional and way. And you are obviously very health conscious. So you've obviously been very healthy. But what made you now you're a coach, a personal coach too. What has kind of made you what was in your life that transition? Because you seem that you've always been pretty healthy. So overall, from most people would think, okay, you're healthy. What changed your perspective?
So I actually wasn't healthy growing up. I struggled with debilitating anxiety. I missed 64 days of my senior year of high school due to chronic illness, upper respiratory infections. My cycle as a female would come and go since the age of 14. So there was a lot of hormonal imbalances in addition to chronic disease just running rampant in my family. And so while I wanted to get healthy, I didn't really know the right ways to do it. So it is why I went into studying physiology, looking at health, nutrition, getting my master's in health. And it really has been this whole journey of, how do I help my mind and body to be healthy and then help others to do the same? Really exploring it for the past 20 years of my career.
That's phenomenal. I mean, have you found that when you were going down, just studying, that you needed to really, obviously you're added this additional approach for your practice and for yourself. What kind of changed that for you, that to try to change your chronic health issues, and what did work? Obviously running is part of that equation, but what else have you done?
So I think it's looking at, in each of my different, I guess I did turn my health around. If you looked from the outside looking in, I looked very healthy. But then in my early 30s, I got diagnosed with hypothyroid, osteoporosis, and a precancerous stomach condition. And I think
that's pretty profound. Those are not light diagnoses for someone that's been fairly healthy.
Yeah. And so here's the thing. In all of my running career, in my infertility struggles, I was eating right. I would seek out, everything from a counselor to help me to just manage my anxiety, to asking my doctors what I could do, seeing nutritionists. And because I was a military spouse, I would change doctors. Each duty station I went to, I had no continuity of care. And I would start from scratch with each new provider. So what I learned is very quickly to have a voice in my healthcare. And I was asking each of my doctors if I could get a DEXA, just knowing as a physiologist.
A DEXA scan. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
DEXA scan. DEXA scan is for, if you want to explain that to individuals listening.
So knowing that I had some hormonal challenges as a female, I was a runner. Something that we really want to look at is bone health and bone density. And so I asked my doctor if they could measure how strong my bones are, which is a DEXA scan. But usually it's women in their 40s and 50s that are getting DEXA scans, not women in their 20s and 30s. And so with each doctor I went to, they said, no, you're the picture perfect individual of health. You're picture perfect health. And healthcare system isn't going to pay for that kind of thing. We're not going to pay it. But I finally did have one provider when I was 33 who I marched into the office. He was a brand new provider with my health history. And I said, this is why I think I need a DEXA scan. And he said, okay, I actually think you have a really valid point. And the next visit I went in, he said, I'm so sorry, you have like full-blown osteoporosis.
Wow. Are you in the process of reversing that? Are you working through that right now?
Yes.
Okay, good. Cause I was going to say, have you seen a functional medicine provider?
Yes, I have.
Okay, good. Cause I was like myself and my colleagues, I'm in the sort of getting board certified, but yeah, I was going to say, have you seen providers to help you? Good.
Yeah. And I think that to answer your question, it's being empowered and having a voice in your own healthcare. When you do get something like a diagnosis or you have symptoms, doing some research on your own, but also like working with your provider and respecting what they have to say.
If they know, it's hard. I will straight up tell you, before I didn't know.
Yeah.
Like I didn't know that there was ways to change some of the diagnoses that I learned about.
So, and that's, to your point, my doctors told me, they were traditional MDs or nurse practitioners, and they were saying, you need to go on Fosamax.
Fosamax. That's it. They're like, oh, that's it. That's all you're going to do. That's all you got.
Before I took that medication, I put one pill into my body. And I said, you know what? I want to see what this medication does in my body. So I researched, I reached out to.
I'm glad you read the pamphlet. Did you read the pamphlet?
Yes.
Good. You looked at the mechanism of action.
Absolutely. So I reached out to different, to pharmacists, and I was looking online, and I looked at the health outcomes for women who take this medication. And when I realized it was building just the outer shell of the bone, not the beautiful,
not the inner osteoclast
matrix. Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I realized like women in their 30s don't normally get this diagnosis. We don't even know how to treat this in women in their 30s very well. I'm going to have to really take charge of my health. So I changed the way I ate. I looked at my gut health. I changed nutrition to support bone health. Like you can eat food instead of take pills, right?
Right. Of course. No, it's very true. 100%.
Yeah. And I took a step back from marathon training. I looked at stress in my life, in my body.
You're a fatigue overall. You're a high achiever. So high achiever, in a good way, nothing negative. Just you worked hard.
Yeah. And now I tend to work with a bunch of women who are kind of in that same bucket. They're so, they're type A about their fitness and their health. And when we get in our late 30s, 40s, 50s, stress is stress. And we really need, whether it's exercise, life, work, travel, we need to reevaluate that and just have the right strategies to adjust our life accordingly.
No, it's so important. And it's so good that you're bringing this up, because someone in watching this and listening needs to hear this, needs to understand you are a very healthy woman. And from what people picture what health and what health is not, it's really that you've empowered your voice. You looked at what things are and you didn't just go, all right, let me just take this pill. And I think that's really, really important for people to understand. As a provider myself, I have individuals that I know I will just give a pill to, and that they will not go beyond that. And that's all that I'm going to. But then there's other individuals that I really want, in most of my practice, I really would rather expand their consciousness and be like, this isn't the solution. This is just a symptom, possible Band-Aid, right? And what did you go? So you worked on your gut health. Did you do some strength training? Did you do what was some of the things? Obviously gut health is a big part, but what did you work on to get some of that, your matrix and the osteoclasts and, that to get you to a better, have you gotten a new DEXA scan?
Yes, I have osteopenia now, which is
yay.
Cool. So I'm super excited to every year make sure I get my DEXA.
Okay.
Explaining to each new doctor that I have that it's important for me to monitor the success, because I want to ensure that I shouldn't be looking at other solutions, that my approach is continuing to reverse it without medication.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. And then, are you doing very high dose vitamin D?
Yes. So interesting. I did look at a lot of different things in my life, because just to put it into perspective, if we don't have our gut health, we need it. It's essential. And
I'm obsessed with gut health and hormone. I'm obsessed with gut health and metabolic health.
I mean, my story was, I was living in California. I was eating, I counted it, a variety of 27 different fruits and vegetables every single day.
That's not normal. I mean, in general, before your osteoporosis diagnosis?
So it just goes to
show
you're
eating pretty healthy. Like what most people are. Lucky if I can get them to eat too.
And so I did beautiful lean protein, mostly organic, and was so conscious about what I was putting into my body, with enough appropriate amount of calories as well. And here I was, if I didn't have the integrity of my gut, my body was not going to digest and absorb what I was putting into it.
Right. It just, if it's broken, it's just, if it's like a bag, right? I tell people, like, if your bag is broken and there's a hole in it, and you're trying to put something in it, it's just going to spill out. Like, there's no work. The work, everything, all that hard work that you're just put 27 vegetables. Do you know how many individuals I can get to? You put all this work and time to eat better, but now you can't, nothing's absorbing.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's gotta be frustrating for you. That must've been hard to see, but in a good way now that you have a solution. So did you have a severe leaky gut and severe dysbiosis?
So yeah, I mean, in addition to just some genetic predispositions to not being able to really absorb vitamin D. So, I realized that I can't take a vitamin D pill. I need a liquid, because my body's going to absorb.
Do you do the liposomal?
Yes.
Okay. Liposomal is a lipid, concentration surrounding, or you do an oil-based, basically.
Yes.
Okay. I'm just for people that may not know.
Yeah, absolutely. And, now when I do have individuals that are working with me and they're looking, to take something like a multivitamin or a vitamin D, just letting them know, like, if it comes in a liquid, your body may be more likely to absorb it, or looking at the type of the different vitamins that are in something, like, looking at your B12s and the methylated version of your Bs. For me, some of these things were just so eye-opening to me, working with a functional medicine provider, in addition to my own, research in sleep, activity, and nutrition as a published researcher. It was like, oh my gosh, whoa, this is, it was just crazy eye-opening to me.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty profound. I mean, like I said, what I didn't know as a provider before, and when I slowly, so I initially went in, in the transformation, mindfulness, and physical therapy, like physical work, and then learning this functional medicine side. It's like when you learn about it, you go, oh my gosh, everybody has to understand this. Like, I'm like, okay. That's why I'm obsessed with getting people on to talk about different aspects of their life, because this is what people need to talk about. They need to know you're now in osteopenia, which is the stage before osteoporosis, because you've used techniques to help yourself.
Yes. And your question previously, yes, I do plyometrics, and I help women to do things like jumping exercises.
Yeah.
If they're avoiding it, why are you avoiding it? And it's because maybe they might have some leakage, or it's not comfortable. Well, then let's talk about your pelvic floor health. These are things that are just, we're not getting the right care for it, and we don't have enough people talking about it. So when it comes to women and their fitness, looking at some easy, simple plyometrics, like jump in place. It doesn't have to be crazy complicated, but let's protect our bones. Let's lift enough weight to build muscles and prevent injuries. It's just important.
That's really great. Are you big on, not part of this, but are you big on trying to build a lot of the skeletal muscle? I've looked at a lot of the research recently on that.
Yes. So
I just started, I mean, you probably know more about it than I am. I'm still researching on that, but the increase of skeletal muscle and how it helps with osteoporosis and just overall longevity.
Absolutely. Yeah. And, my best advice there is women, when we're looking 35 and over, really lifting weights in that 8 to 10 rep range. We really do want to be lifting heavy enough. And there's a lot of misinformation out there that you can just do body weight exercises and you'll be okay. And especially if you want a long, healthy, active life, looking at that 8 to 10 rep range where it's challenging for your muscles is really going to help female hormonal, skeletal, bone health.
That's so important. How would you like to chat more about clients or kind of your journey now and how you're like what you're doing now and for others?
Yeah. So I was a published researcher and I went into chronic disease health coaching intervention design, which is a lot of words, but basically I was working with in a company to help those in Medicare and Medicaid reverse and use nutrition and activity for things like diabetes and some of those chronic disease outcomes. But when I got my second major diagnosis, which was a precancerous condition of my stomach, I was told by my doctors there was nothing I could do. And I looked again into both what could I research in the literature or research online? What were different functional medicine practitioners saying? I worked with my own functional medicine practitioner and my traditional gastroenterologist.
Okay.
And really, I assembled my own approach to reverse it. And when I was able to do that in 1 year, I took a step back and I said, there's something to this. I'm, peaking my performance as a runner and going into my 40s. I've reversed these chronic conditions that I was told there was nothing I could do about. And I'm seeing women out there running and over exercising and burning out.
Mm-hmm.
So I just wanted to have a different message that you can be your most fit, healthy, and resilient self into your 30s, 40s, 50s, and beyond. And all of these things that we're told, like, oh, well, you're going to gain weight. Mm-hmm. You're going to have energy lulls. You're just not going to have the performance that you used to. Like rewriting that story, because it is so very possible.
It's so frustrating. I mean, I'm work in progress, as I tell people, but the conversation of the one size fits all, it is just mind-boggling frustrating, because we get the algorithms, we learn it, like, I've learned it, and then trying to change my pattern of that's not how I want to practice. Yeah, it's so frustrating when they're like, oh, well, you're going to turn 30. It's going to be like this. At 40, women expect to be a little bit more tired. At 50, it's all right. That's it. You hit menopause. And you're like, come on, should not be the story. And it needs to be discussed on other ways,
Yeah. And that's where, like, I think we see a lot of like group programs or generalized recommendations, but I think my biggest thing here is telling individuals, like, I'm going to tell you what the science says, the best science-based approach that I know. But then we got to take a step back. We're going to keep it super simple for your life. And let's talk about what's realistic for your specific goals and your lifestyle. Because if it's not realistic and something you can sustain, you're not going to see the results that you want. So it's like this blend of really finding what works best for you and then working it.
That's so important. I love that. I love what you're saying, because it's, you're taking very much so an integrative approach for health, and you're taking it beyond just the physical components, like you've used different areas, nutrition, your research, your mental health, your mindfulness, and it's what we need. We need more people talking about it. Would you like to add for the listeners, first, let me know, how can they reach you? So if they want to contact you and learn more about you, how can they reach you?
So you can find information about my one-on-one coaching and my Badass Breakthrough Academy program. That's specifically for women over 35, and integrative holistic health, fitness, and especially for women who love running, helping them to be their most fit and resilient self going into their 40s, 50s, and beyond. You can find that at breakingthroughwellness.com. I do additionally have a blog that has a variety of movement, nutrition, mindfulness, my kind of little bit of my journey reversing my diagnoses, and that's teamvalentineproject.com. So there's an abundance of information.
That's awesome. Yeah, you might as well have a small YouTube channel eventually.
I started one, but you know what? As a woman who's trying to manage family, I'm a coach. There's a lot of
it's so hard to do everything. So it's like, what? If anything, to the other platform I tell people is Instagram Live.
Yes, yes. That's why I am on Instagram and Facebook. It's at
Yeah,
Breaking
let's
Through
keep it
Wellness.
simple.
Yeah.
Whatever, just to get your voice out there. And I'm glad, you're on the show so we can put you out more. And I'd love for you to be on at some other point for maybe a webinar to teach those individuals again more, in the series of something, it's maybe a webinar topic of one of your many things that you teach that in your health area. So and I like to just leave, as I say, a little mindful tip that you'd like to leave the audience.
I think my best advice is to never forget that you always have the amazing superpower to rewrite your story at any point in time.
That is very important. I think we forget that the story doesn't end, right? And sometimes people feel like that's what I have, that's it.
Yeah. Yeah. You can pivot as many times as you want. You can recreate yourself as many times as you want. And so I do have my book, The Art of Breaking Through, which is like 5 simple steps in a mindfulness approach to like breaking through challenges. So if you do find that you're in this struggle and you're looking for the shortest self-help book ever, it's available on Amazon. So it's a little resource to complement that.
I love it. I can't wait for people to reach out. I'll put the links in the show notes, and I look forward to you being on again at some point. And Thank you so much, Louise, for being with us.
Thank you. Wishing you all the best.
And thank you guys for listening in. And like Louise says, you need to rewrite your story. It's not over yet. So thanks, guys. And I hope that you have a wonderful day, whatever it is for you. And make sure you find a mindful way each and every day.
Thank you for listening to the Mindfully Integrative Show with Dr. Damaris Maria Grossman, family nurse practitioner. This podcast is for informational and educational purposes only and is not the substitute for professional medical advice, diagnose, or treat. Always consult your healthcare provider before making changes to your healthcare routine. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss an episode. If you enjoyed our show, please support us by leaving a mindful review on Apple Podcast or your favorite streaming platform. Interested in being a guest or more information? Email us at info@mindfullyintegrative.com. For resources mentioned in the show, visit our website at www.mindfullyintegrative.com. You can also connect mindfully with Dr. Damaris on her social media links found on the site. May your strength and peace guide you to find a mindful way every day. Namaste.